perfect, yeah.
Do you want me to?
Okay. We're ready when you are. Yeah?
Okay. We're ready. Let's get
Does
this.
this go out? Can you all hear me? Hey, good morning.
Hey.
How y'all doing? Oh, let's try that again. How y'all doing? That's better.
Oh, boy.
Welcome to Specialty Produce. My name is Jeff Rossman. I'm the chef owner of Terra Hospitality Group, which is Terra American Bistro Catering and Buns Burger Joint in Mission Valley. I'm also the proud recipient of the 2016 San Diego Restaurant Association chapter for the California Restaurant Association Chef of the Year. And also, thank you. And also the education chair, committee chair for the Restaurant Association here. So this is part of my doing is these educational seminars, and hopefully we'll get more of you to come out and spread the word and get some people out here. How many of you have not been here to Studio Kitchen before? Well, welcome. This is Specialty Produce's state-of-the-art kitchen. We have Justin over here from Rational. He'll give you a little demonstration and talk about that throughout the morning. That's my most favorite oven in the world. For those of you that don't know, it's a combi oven. I have two of them in my kitchen, and they're unbelievable. If I could have one at my house, I would. But we're not here for that. We're here for produce today, all about produce. And I'm going to turn it over to this young lady over here to my right, your left. This is Kat Humphus.
Hi.
She is...
Hi.
Welcome, my dear.
Thank you. Oh,
She's been around town for a long time. She knows her thing. I'm going to let her give you her bio. I love this girl to death.
Oh.
She's always out here doing some fun stuff and giving away to the community. And she's here to teach you about produce and what to do about produce and leftover produce and fun stuff and chicken. You're going to have a good time. So, Kat, take it away, my dear.
Thanks. Thank you. Hey, guys. Thanks for coming. We have quite the crowd. This is exciting. You also may notice that we have like an entire film crew here. So the CRA, the California Restaurant Association, partners with the high schools and middle schools as well for their culinary programs and also for their tech programs. So with this, we're actually doing a live broadcast on YouTube Live for all this entire class. This is all the tech students. Hey guys, welcome. So that's exciting. Hope you guys don't mind being on camera. I don't, so it's okay. Hi, I'm Kat, and I work at Specialty Produce. Before that, I opened a few restaurants around town. I worked for the Cone Restaurant Group and opened 2 Bobos and 100 Wines. Before that, I went to culinary school at Le Cordon Bleu in Paris, worked at WD-50 in New York, and at the French Laundry. So it's really super fun to be here. I don't get to play in the kitchen too often anymore, unless you come find me at Tribute Pizza in North Park on the weekends. So thanks for having me. I want to preface this by saying that I'm probably not going to show you or teach you anything totally mind-blowing. So just going to set your expectations really low, and then hopefully you'll be impressed. But it's pretty straightforward stuff. I think the name of the seminar was Using the Whole Plant, and that's just really what we're going to do. So maybe you already do, maybe you don't. My goal for today is just to get your wheels turning. Hey, Teresa. Get your wheels turning, maybe look at something a little different than you normally have. And I will be sure to talk a lot about that and how I was first introduced to it, and some restaurants around town that are doing a killer job of it. And yeah, so that's what the morning's going to look like. We're going to start by hanging out with Justin. Yeah, because Justin has to get out of here sooner than I do. I have a menu idea for today, and I'm hoping we can get to it all. But one of the things that I'm really fond of is like a whole roast chicken, right? Because there's so much you can do with a whole roast chicken. But also, when I was in Paris, my favorite thing, how many of you guys have been to Europe or Paris? It's, you know, a country or a continent, no big deal. And so you'd see the rotisserie chickens at the farmers markets, and all the potatoes would be at the bottom, and all the fat would just drip down onto the potatoes and make them very delicious. And then you just like pick up a bag of them and just walk around with like greasy hands. That's my favorite thing. So we're gonna recreate that because that's just like the ecosystem of the chicken fat, you know? It's so good. So Justin, do you wanna tell us, how you set that oven up and a little bit about the oven and why it's so amazing and how it all works?
Sure.
So how many of you guys have heard of Rational? How many of combi ovens? Okay. So Rational, we invented combi oven technology. And basically what combi ovens are is a convection oven and a steamer got together and went on a date and made a little combi oven baby, okay? So in its simplest form, it's a convection oven and a steamer. But for the past 40 years, we've been developing this technology, and we're able to not only introduce humidity, but also extract humidity, basically at any temperature. So from 85 degrees to 575 degrees. So we can control time, temperature, and humidity in that range. And that pretty much covers everything that you do when you cook. Okay? So low temperature with humidity, we turn it into a proof box at 85 degrees. At 127 degrees, it's sous vide circulator. 212, anything you do in a pot of boiling water, we can do inside the self-cooking center as well. All right? And then the magic happens in combi mode. That's what we're in right now. So we're cooking at 386 degrees with 50% humidity. Okay? Steam, I won't go too crazy on the science, but steam is an incredible source of heat transfer. Okay? And we all know that because you can reach into an oven, pull a 200-degree plate out, but you pass your hand over that pot of boiling water, we get burned instantly, right? It's not the 212 degrees. It's the latent energy inside the humidity or steam. You know, turning a liquid into a gas is a pretty extraordinary thing in the laws of physics. That takes a lot of energy. When we have all of that energy inside the cooking cabinet, it transfers into our product very aggressively. Okay, does that make sense? We're not hotter than 365. We're just getting that 365 to penetrate the product more quickly. We also change the osmotic pressure, keep all the moisture inside our product as we're cooking. And then we have that ability to switch to all dry heat. You'll see here at the end, so we started out with high temperature, high humidity, then we cut the humidity down, then we're going to go into total dehydration mode to crisp up that chicken. Okay? All happening at once and without our control. So a lot of these things, I have some airline breasts in there, right? So typically in your kitchen, we would sear the airline breasts, flip them over, put them in our saute pan, maybe a little chicken stock, and throw them in a convection oven. Okay, what did we do there? We created our own combi oven, right? You know, and then we pull it back out and put it under heater in the salamander to crisp it back up. The Rational Self-Cooking Center is going to do all that for us. Okay? And so I'm cooking airline breasts, a whole breast. We just sauteed some beet greens. Is that beet greens or chard?
Well, let me tell you. It's Swiss chard and turnip greens and beet greens because I had some leftover stuff.
Excellent. Okay. And then we're roasting some potatoes in there as well. Okay? So I will start pulling that stuff out. Obviously, those airline breasts are going to get done before our whole chicken. So what we do is I have the airline breasts probed. They're going to be done in 5 minutes. Pull that probe out. I'm going to transfer it to the whole chicken. And then it's going to continue cooking. The self-cooking center is actually going to remember that whole process, that the whole chicken is in there, and it's going to make sure I don't over-brown my chicken. It'll actually lower the temp and keep cooking till I get to my desired temperature. Okay? Life-changing machine. I was introduced to Rational in 2004. When I opened a 240-seat restaurant, I wanted a double-stack convection oven and a tilt skillet because that's what I was trained I needed. This machine came into my life and changed my life in the kitchen, and obviously now I'm a full-time employee for Rational. Jeff Rossman and I have been working together for a few years. He just brought on a new guy, and this is your first time seeing Rational, and it's literally, we were comparing it to, in high school you had to do all your math by hand, right? And then when you were an adult you used the calculator. This is the calculator in the kitchen, right? Okay, so I'm going to give it back to Kat.
Cool.
And then I might hop in as the food comes out.
Cool. Thanks, Justin.
Sure.
It's really cool, actually. It's a very cool oven. I had an event here last month, and I was texting Justin because I was like, I actually don't really know how to use this thing. I couldn't even figure out how to turn it off. It's like it's not obvious in my defense. It was very tricky. But so I was like, Justin, I need to cook 7 racks of lamb, and I need them to be perfect. And I think it's going to be about this time, but I really don't know, and they're all different sizes. And I need it to be perfectly crisp. Tell me what to do. And he was like, yes, okay, here's what you do. And so I did it, and then and there's like a thermometer. So I'm like, okay, I set the temp to like the perfect temperature. And then in the middle of the event, I go and check on them, and I'm like, they're done. Oh my God, I'm not ready. Ah. And I'm like trying to text him, like, how do I turn it off? And so I go up to one of the other chefs, and I'm like, how do you stop the oven? And she like looks at me, she's like, you just take the food out. And I'm like, okay, cool, take the food out. Anyways, so I invited Justin to come today. Actually, correction, Justin offered because he knows that's my experience with the oven. So he's here, we're excited. But we're gonna jump to crudo, because who doesn't love raw fish for breakfast, right? So I have some awesome hiramasa from Baja Seas from Tommy at Catalina. It's sustainably farmed. They have a really great program down there. Crudo is really popular. It's thinly sliced raw fish with other things on top of it. But one of my favorite things about crudo is that it always looks really beautiful on a plate. And you know, are you guys familiar with microgreens? We have a whole cooler of them, right? Like microgreens are very popular, and they're very pretty. Hey. And they're very delicate. And when I worked at WD-50, I thought, I was like straight out of culinary school, and I thought microgreens were the epitome of like a fancy restaurant. And it was like a status thing. Like, ooh, this restaurant has microgreens. They must make a lot of money. And WD-50 didn't use any microgreens. And I was like, that's interesting. And they used things that were really obvious. Like it would say like cilantro, but instead of using the leaves, they would actually use the stems. And I was like, that's really weird and kind of gross, right? Because like for some reason we're conditioned to like pick the leaves, throw the stems, or like pick the leaves and throw the stems in a pot for soup because you can't use them. But they're actually incredibly pungent and delicious. And so this is a bunch of cilantro. It costs 35 cents. A tub of microgreens costs $12, in case you guys didn't know. Also, sorry for any specialty produce employees around here for dodging on the microgreen cooler, but my bad. So we're gonna use some cilantro, leaves and stems. And I also have something really basic here, celery. But again, one of those things that would always just go in the trash at some other restaurants I worked at was this inner part of the celery stalk. And WD-50 would specifically save the inner stalk and use the leaves because they're really pretty and they're really pungent. And they're not as tough as the outer leaves. So you could throw the outer leaves in the stalk or whatever, but these inner leaves are actually really delicate and very mild and really pretty. I'm into pretty things, in case you guys didn't catch that. So I tried to do like some prep ahead of time so that it wouldn't just be me like picking cilantro leaves in the morning, but some I didn't get to like this. So we're just gonna watch me pick cilantro leaves. But anyways, you guys know what chives are? Yeah, hopefully. Please tell me you guys know what chives are. So you just treat the cilantro stems the same way. So right, like you bunch them together and then I just slice them like I would chives, which is very small. And you guys are gonna get a chance to taste everything. But I don't have any helpers. So you're either going to offer to help me, which is preferred, or I'm just gonna put them up here and you guys can kind of walk up and help yourself. Either one is fine, but I have some plates and stuff here, just FYI. Do you guys have any questions so far? I know you've really learned a lot. Can you guys, can you see on that TV or no? Okay, cool. Awesome. The other thing that I want to share with you is that a lot of this stuff, I told you early on, like a lot of this isn't rocket science, right? Like it's just kind of like looking at food a different way. So when I was in culinary school, they gave us a bell pepper and they gave us grapes and they were like, peel them. And we're like, what? Like that's super weird for an American to like peel your grape. But in France, it's really common. Like super common to peel grapes and really tedious and really annoying. Almonds too, peeled almonds. So I know, it's ridiculous. Hey, so as I was like obsessing about how bizarre this was, I realized that it's like a cultural thing, right? Because the French students were not weirded out at all. They were like, oh yes, we peel bell peppers. And so if we are programmed to think that that's weird, there's somewhere else that's programmed to think that it's not weird. So like Bob, the owner of Specialty Produce, he travels to Asia a lot. And he always talks about how it's absurd how we peel anything here. Like they're like the other opposite, where it's like they eat the peels of everything. Like a lot of cultures will even eat the peels of bananas. So it's really just kind of a matter of opening your mind to what is possible and realizing that it's all just a balance of flavor. So for example, a lot of times people will throw peels away specifically because it's like bitter, right? So if you know that a peel brings a bitter counterpart to your dish, then you just need to find the complementing flavor to change that. So whether that's acid or sweetness, yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Someone who does an exceptional job of it, who's not here today because he's in London, I'm sure some of you know him, Davin Waite from Wrench and Rodent. He does use banana peels. He makes banana peel tacos, and they're really good. And he's like, I call him the Willy Wonka, because he's the master of like, hey, you should try this. And I'm like, that sounds gross, and I don't want to. And then it's really good. Because he's really mastered that flavor balance of things. So that's what I got on that. How's Team Chicken?
Good.
Chicken's working. No, I'm just peeling stuff and trying not to bore them. Do you guys have any questions about anything in the world? Life, love, pursuit of happiness, anything? You all? This celery? Like currant? Oh yeah.
Maybe leave
one
whole.
Well, geez, I'm glad you asked. So here, I'm just plating the crudo right now. So we have I picked all the leaves off. But then also what I did is I made some celery ribbons. So produce is pretty cool, actually. And there's a lot of things that you can do with it. If you take a you know how when you bite into a piece of celery and it's stringy? And like when I was a kid, my kindergarten teacher used to tell us to peel it so we wouldn't choke. But anyways, those strings are really cool because they're kind of like a tension band. So if you peel the celery with a peeler with the intention of using the peels, and then you put it in ice water, they'll actually curl up because of those strings. So that's what we did here. And I'm going to add that to the garnish. It's really, yeah, it's pretty cool. Again, like a whole head of celery costs like 95 cents.
Team Chicken.
Team Chicken? Whoa.
Where should we start? Who wants it first? Who's
let's maybe put it here.
Do we have any serving utensils?
Do you want to serve some?
Oh, thanks, ladies. The other part that I did with the celery is that I just sliced them into little, half moons.
They're in the kitchen.
And then with some of the beet peelings, I have a beet salad coming up. I just threw the peels of the beet in with the celery, and it's basically like nature's food dye. So now I have different colors, right? Like a plate is always like different textures, different colors, different flavors. And if you just kind of use them all to interplay with each other, it can be really nice. Now, see, it just took food. That's all it takes to get them warmed up.
Are we passing those? Is that what we're doing?
I will, yeah. Yeah.
You're not doing individuals, right?
No. That's crazy, Jeff. So I'm just segmenting some tangerines for this crudo plate. And then I'm going to squeeze out any extra juice right on top of the crudo as well. Yum. potatoes.
Can I move this?
Huh?
Are you done with this?
I am not done with that.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm pretty much not done with anything. Thanks. So citrus is a really easy thing to use all of because you can zest the peel, you can juice it, and then you can use the segments. Potato cube. Thanks, Jeff. You should, right? Wide open. So also when I'm cooking, I usually have two different bowls going, or two different piles. One of those is usually for compost, and that's like, I just squeezed out the juice from this tangerine, and I already took the segments, so that would just go into the compost pile. The other one is for stock. So like these, whatever's left over from the celery, I would save for stock. And we'll talk about stock in a second. How's the chicken? How's the potatoes? Okay, good. So when we talk about using the whole plant, there's a few different kind of side parts that go with that. And one of them is the idea of preserving, right? So this isn't a class on preserving, but a lot of times that's one of the methods that we use when wanting to use the whole plant. So there's like a preventative use the whole plant thing, which is like picking the leaves, not throwing away the leaves, making the celery ribbons. And then there's also this idea of preserving items that are maybe past their prime or gorgeous. Yay. That's my breakfast, in case you guys were wondering. So there's like three main things that you can do if you have a produce item that's not in its tip-top shape. And these are kind of my go-tos. So one of them is, and this is usually for like a sweeter idea, actually making preserves, right? Like jam, something like that, canning, right? That's pretty straightforward. Another one is pickling. Like you can pickle anything. In fact, some of the Swiss chard stems from the chicken dish, I pickled some of those. I'm going to throw them on the crudo, right? So when you think about what a pickle is anything that you pickle. It's not necessarily a cucumber. So what does a pickle serve? It's a crunchy thing usually, right? Like it usually adds texture and some acidity. So I pickled Swiss chard stems, and I also pickled some shallots. And then with the shallots, I threw in some beet peels, and now it's super pink. Super pink. So that's beautiful. And then the other one that I like to do is like candying. So I have some of the orange peels behind me here, and I'm boiling them, right? So I talked about working with the flavor that you're given. So orange peels tend to be a little bit bitter. So I'm boiling them in water, and then I'm going to boil them in simple syrup, and then I'm going to toss them in sugar. So I'm counterbalancing that bitterness from the orange peel with the sweetness from all the other ingredients. And we're going to use it as a garnish on something. I don't know what yet. But that's something that once you candy it, it'll stay for a long time. So some things that I always have on hand in my kitchen are just a kind of a generic batch of pickling liquid. So pickling liquid is some sort of vinegar, some sort of sugar or honey or agave or sweetener, and then any spices that you want. But even if you just started with that and started pickling things and then broke them up into batches and kind of seasoned them differently. That's a really good way to preserve almost anything. Yes, please. Oh, sure, yeah. So when it depends a little bit on the thickness of what you're slicing, but like, for example, these shallots were sliced really, really thin. These charred stems are sliced pretty small. I just bring the pickling liquid to a boil, pour it over the item, and then just leave it like that. So it just stays in the pickling liquid, put it in the fridge, and you're good. If you're doing something like carrots that's not quite as porous, the longer it stays in the pickling liquid, the better of a pickle it'll have. But something like this, it'll get the point across really fast. So I talked about candying. I have some jalapenos here. Jalapenos are traditionally spicy, right?
Oh, sexy.
Thanks. I almost just said, you look sexy, and then I was like, HR called, can't say that. So I'm soaking the jalapenos in simple syrup. So this isn't like a real candying process, like I mentioned with the orange peels that we'll be doing. But I don't know about you guys, I like can't handle spice at all. Like I'm the biggest wimp ever. But really it's just jalapenos soaked in simple syrup will last a lot longer than fresh jalapenos. So if you have some that are looking a little bit past their prime and you need to get an extra day or two out of them, that's a good way to do it. All right, I'm gonna salt this and then it's good to go to the masses because I know you guys are like after chicken.
Just set it right there, yeah.
I really
Yep.
want raw fish. Salt? Yeah, salt. I also got some purple daikon in case I wanted it to be even more of a girly dish, but I think we're pretty maxed out on the fluff, so thanks. It looks fluffy. Ta-da! And there's not a single microgreen on it. Yay! Oh, hi, Julie.
Put it up. Yeah, maybe some small
Cool.
tongs.
All right.
Sure.
Let me clean this up. Ah! Yo. Ah, this is a hiramasa. Yeah. You're welcome. All right. So, on that little flyer that went around, there was a little note about cooking seasonally. So, how many of you guys are interested in cooking seasonally? Yeah. Woo. Cool. Me too. So, it's basically spring right now, right? It is, I think, officially spring. So, does anyone have any idea what's in season right now? Asparagus, rhubarb, ramps. Ramps are definitely in season. They're on every single person's menu right now. So good. Yeah. Peas? Anyone? Peas. Cool. So Specialty Produce has this really cool program called the Farmers Market Truck. And we load up all of our farmers market goodies on a truck and we go to a few restaurants. And then the chefs get to go around and see what's in there and take what they want, or purchase what they want, rather. And it's a really cool program, and I was a part of it last year. And springtime and then into summer when all the shelling beans started coming around, we have like this huge selection of gorgeous beans, right? Like cranberry beans and dragon beans and scarlet runners, and they're all really interesting. And all the chefs were like, those are so cool, but I don't know what to do with the shells, right? And it's like, you can usually think of things to do with, like peels, okay, we could zest it, but like shells are one of those things that just was hard for people to be like, it's a lot of work, right? Like it's a ton of labor, and then I'm throwing away most of it. And so, is anyone familiar with Chef Jeremy Fox? Yeah. So yeah, he's awesome. So he came out with a book called On Vegetables. He's a chef up at Rustic Canyon, previously at Manresa, and he's just a super baller. But his cookbook, On Vegetables, is not, it happens to be vegetarian or mostly vegetarian, but he's not vegetarian. He just really believes in cooking plants and vegetables. And one of the recipes that was most interesting to me was a pea consomme with white chocolate. And so I started to make our own version here. I don't know if we'll get to it in time, but I just want to show you. Ooh, it smells good. Can you guys see it kind of? Over here? Okay. But basically, we have peas in stock right now. And in stock, that's a funny pun.
Not good.
And so I shelled a bunch of peas. They are here. This is a pound of English peas. Womp womp. Yeah, like, oh man. But it doesn't seem like such a sad case when you realize that you actually get to use both parts of it, right? So we're making a pea consomme here by soaking all of the shells.
When are you going there?
Not soaking, but cooking, right? Like we're making a pea stock, basically. And instead of using frozen shelled peas, or instead of using peas that you just worked your
Make sure it doesn't get lost.
we're using the other part, the part that usually goes in the trash.
I mean, it's not that big a deal.
This was kind of a fun accident, but I used rainbow carrots for the chicken. And so I just put all the peels together and threw them in there, and then right away I realized that there was purple carrots in there. So it's actually a purple pea consomme now, which is gonna look really cool with the bright green peas. So also ironically, I can't find any white chocolate in specialty produce. Maybe someone could help me locate it. Because that's like the best part of the recipe, okay? Because pea pods are, again, bitter, a little bit bitter, right? Like they have an earthy flavor, a little bit bitter. So that's the flavor that you're gonna get in your stock. So then to balance it out with just a little bit of sweetness from the white chocolate is really incredible. So we have that working behind us. I'm gonna keep letting it go. And yeah, it's just, otherwise I'm just serving you like purple water, you know? So we'll hold on the purple water stitch. Need to let it cook a little bit more. But that's on the line.
You can mute it.
I also have a really basic beet salad, Justin's coffee, and ice cream for breakfast. Everyone likes ice cream for breakfast. Okay. Yeah, see? Okay, maybe we should start there. Like a intermezzo of ice cream, you know? All right, let's do this beet salad so we can pretend like we actually cook vegetables. So, it's a very straightforward beet salad. You are not gonna be blown away. I will say that much. But I roasted the beets, I peeled the beets, and then I saved all of the peels. And I've just been using them in little things all over. I had this grand plan, maybe I'll still do it. So, okay, for dessert we're having strawberry preserves on ice cream. And I saved all the tops of the strawberries because we're gonna make a sauce out of them and put it separate from the preserves. So on the tops of the strawberries, let me grab them. So like if you think about it, right, strawberry preserve, yeah, tops of strawberries. And then there's green parts. Have you guys ever seen the Vitamix demo at like the Del Mar Fair or at Costco? Do you ever see when he like throws in red cabbage into like your ice cream and he's like, you can't even taste it? I was like 12 and really impressed by that. So much that I went in half and half with a friend in high school to get a Vitamix and I still have it. Yeah, I know. It's on its last leg. But anyway, so all right, like it got me thinking, like kind of like baby food. Like if you blend something up enough, like you can't really tell it's there. But the flavor of the greens gives it kind of an earthy herbal flavor. But I like earthiness and I like herbs and I really like strawberry and basil, right? Like it's a really easy to do combination that works really well. So we're going to make a sauce with the tops of the strawberries, and we're just going to throw more green in it. But then it's going to be like a weird brown sauce, because now we have like green and red, which is pretty much brown. So I'm going to use some of these beet peels to brighten that up. Cool? So I have simple syrup back here. I just always have like a pot of sugar just at my disposal, because I think it's important. Yeah. So let's do this. Throw these in here. Have basil. Yeah. Cool. So again, with the like blending anything up, right? I'm gonna take off like the big stem, but I'm just gonna throw in all the other ones because they're fine. It's fine. It's fine, guys. It's gonna be fine. All right, and still don't really know how to use this fancy stove. Okay, cool, that worked. So I've got strawberry tops, basil, and I'm gonna throw in some beet peels and cook that all together. Also, this should go without saying, but if you're gonna use all these like weird parts, you should probably wash your produce. Just an idea, I don't know. Just throwing it out there. All right. Okay. This is an orange. This is actually a cara orange. It's like a hybrid between a regular orange, a navel orange, and a grapefruit. So it has like a rubyish color, and it has more acidity than a normal orange, less sweetness. So it doesn't have an absence of sweetness, it has an influx of acidity, if that makes sense. So it's still really sweet. So normally, when I'm like teaching someone how to segment an orange, I would say something like, you want to get as close to, can you guys see this, or should I move? I should move, okay, let's do it. I would normally say you should get as close to the flesh as possible, unless the goal is to also use the peel for candied peel. So, I'm not, sorry, thank you.
Let me consolidate.
Yeah, sure. I'm only done with this cutting board.
Okay.
Thank you. Is that better? Yeah. Okay, cool. Sweet. But with this one, you can see I didn't do that because I have the peel here that has been blanching, which just means boiling in water, basically. And so I'm going to drain off the water and then add simple syrup and boil it some more, because we're going to candy this. Do I have a, yeah, I do have a thing. But this is just like orange flavored water, which is pretty good. So we'll just add that into our stock, because that's delicious, right? All right. Simple syrup, pour that back over. Okay, okay. Get that boiling. Cool. So we're gonna let that boil a bit. I'm gonna show you how to do that. This is for the stock. I'm just talking to myself at this point. Okay. So we're gonna segment an orange. I'll show you how I normally advise people to do it, right? As close to the flesh as possible, because then we're gonna segment the orange. I forgot I just got my knife sharpened. That's nice. All right. Kind of did a shitty job. You get the idea. All right, so there's a pretty big difference between those two, right? Hopefully, it's got a dangler. All right. So I would advise you saving these. What you could do at this point is then go back with your very sharp knife and basically fillet the orange peel, right? So this is the pith, the white part, is really bitter, not very delicious. This would be good for compost, But all the oils for the orange is actually in the peel. So you can like scratch and sniff. Like that's where all the smell comes from, is from the peel. That's where, like, who's into essential oils around here, huh? You got any doTERRA reps? This is how they make them, from the peels only. Something's simmering. Okay, that's good. So then from this point, once you have most of the pith removed, then you can thinly slice it. Thinner the better. Try not to cut yourself with your sharp knife. And then this is what you would use to boil and then candy. Cool? And so once it's candied, I'll show you when we get there, you can keep it in sugar and it'll stay for a very long time. Like it just kind of keeps preserving, it becomes hard and crunchy. And from that point, if you wanted to take it a step further, one of the other main ways of preserving something, anything, is, anyone have any idea? These are great suggestions. I was gonna say dehydrating, but I love the dip it in chocolate and the salt method, is dehydrating. So, and you don't need to have a dehydrator to do that. You can do it in a low oven. So you know when you go to those really fancy restaurants and they have like powder on the plate, or it's like Kalamata olive powder. They really, I'll give you guys a really big secret. They dried it and then put it in a Vitamix. And sometimes they use some chemicals to keep it from clumping up and stuff like that, and that's cool. But yeah, it's dried and then ground like in a spice grinder and then sifted. And it looks really cool. And you could do that with orange peels. You could do that with, I saw that people are doing it with avocado seeds now. And adding it to their smoothies for extra fiber. Again, if you blend anything up, you can't taste it, right? I haven't done that, but it seems like something I would be interested in trying. Anyway, so you could dry those too. So we're going to segment these. So you just go between the lines. Oh, I didn't do that one right. Anyone have any questions so far? You guys hungry? You want more food? How's everyone feeling? So what we're going to do is we're going to segment these for the salad. Then I'm going to squeeze out the juice from here, and we're going to make a dressing. I'm thinking, oh, I forgot that was cooking. Oh, that's good. Okay. I'm thinking that we should do a basil orange dressing. Because that sounds good and we have basil up here. What do you guys think? Yeah, cool. Alrighty. Okay. You guys are gonna have to like share the orange wedges because I'm tired of doing it. Thanks. All right, so we have a blender, trusty Vitamix. You know, never be too sure. All right, so we're going to squeeze this in here. All right, so we got the orange juice. Just pretend that this is a compost bin. Okay? Actually, this is a good opportunity to talk about specialty produce and their efforts to reduce waste. So we actually have quite a few programs around here, around these parts. One of them is called Waste Not. So how many of you come from a restaurant? Yeah, cool. Have you guys heard about Waste Not? Yeah, so there's two parts to Waste Not. One of them is that, do any of you have like a buffet at your restaurant? Or like, no, yeah. Which restaurant are you with? Oh, awesome. So like, imagine all that food that sits out at the buffet and then no one, or maybe not no one comes, but you know, you have extra. We will actually pick up your leftover food and then we distribute it through the food bank to go to shelters that need food. So that's one part of Waste Not. The other part is more of like an internal thing, which is, sorry, just want to show you guys that simple syrup is almost all the way reduced. So it's basically it's like orange caramel right now. We're going to let that go a little bit further and then put it on a sheet tray and sprinkle sugar on top of it. I'm going to lower this so I don't have burnt orange caramel on my hands. Okay. So the other part of waste not is internal. So if you guys have been around the warehouse, you've seen some giant blue bins. And a lot of people think that those are our compost bins. But actually, what they are is it's for a pig farm. And so any food that isn't ideal for human consumption, we actually send to a pig farm, and the pigs get to eat it, which is pretty cool. And then the pig farmer supplies us with pigs also. So it's kind of a cool regenerative system. But at home, like I said, I always have a little bin for compost, a little bin for veggie stock, and a little bin for trash. Hopefully not too much trash. Okay, one more juice of orange. Does anyone here have a nut allergy? Hopefully not you. What's that?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you decide how to mix the flavor palette?
Mm-hmm.
How do you decide which flavors
Complimentary.
in a dish? Yeah.
So the short answer is there's a really good book that I read called The Flavor Bible. I recommend it a lot. It's like an encyclopedia of ingredients. So it'd be like basil, and then it has all the other complementary flavors and ingredients that go with it, like pineapple and vanilla and cardamom. So that's a really cool resource. The other thing is I actually asked the chef at WD50 the same question when I was there, because I remember he did this venison special and it had like coconut and shit. Like it was like the most bizarre sounding dish I had ever heard. I don't eat venison, and he was like, you need to try it. And it was so good. I was like, okay, how do you do this? Like, what? This is magic. And he actually explained it to me in a way that I have adapted and trained other people with. And he said that he has a grid in his head. So it's like 4 grids, and he has a lot of different grids for different items. So the first one is flavor. And so there's like sweet, spicy, mild, and bitter, right? And so then, thank you. So then he just is always trying on one plate, he's always trying to hit one element from each item. And so if you have, like, let's take something really basic, like a roasted chicken dish, right? So you have a really savory component of like the rosemary, right? That would be earthy or savory. And then you want to have some acid in there, so you throw in some lemon. And then you want something sweet, so maybe you have some apple with it, right? And so you're always just trying to hit every component of all the flavors, or maybe something a little spicy. Maybe it's just a little bit of spice in the rub. And that's what makes people, when they take that bite, go, ooh, that's really good. And you can do that with any dish, right? And so the way that he was explaining it to me was he has one for flavor, like that, where he's trying to hit every single thing. And he has one for color on a plate. So if he has a chicken dish and it's all brown, then he's like, well, I need at least 2 other colors. So I need a green. So, okay, I'm going to add some greens to it. And I need a red. So we're going to add some cherry tomatoes to it. And the cherry tomato will also give you acid and a little bit of sweetness, right? And he has one for texture. So using the same idea. I'll grab some oil. Thanks. So have you ever gone to a restaurant, or maybe at home you've made it, and you have like a plate full of mush, and you're like, oh, that tasted good, but I kind of feel like I'm eating baby food, right?
It needs bacon.
Yeah, it needs bacon maybe, right? It needs some crispy bacon. Maybe it needs some roasted nuts to add some texture, or maybe it needs just a slice of bread to be served with it, right? So at any dish, you can look at and dissect it into how many components am I hitting with this? And you can overdo it, and I have, trust me. I've done some weird stuff, and I'm like, missed the mark on that. But right? If you get enough of the flavors that complement each other and that work well together, and you get enough of the color and enough of the texture, then it can usually work out pretty well. I'm struggling with this dressing. How funny. I'll be right back. I need vinegar. I need to go in the back. Did that make sense, or did that confuse everyone? No. Okay. But the Flavor Bible is an awesome, awesome resource. We're going to use rice wine vinegar, because that's what I found. Is that vinegar? Yeah, this is rice wine vinegar, because that's what I found back there. Lid is stuck. Okay, so we made an orange basil beet vinaigrette. That's right. So like cooking is just science, which is kind of intimidating sometimes for people, but it's a science of flavors. It's a science of like emulsifiers, right? Like I can put the right ratio of liquid to oil, and then I get a vinaigrette that looks like it has cream or egg in it, and it doesn't. But it's just understanding how different things work together is the trick.
That was vinegar and oil that you wanted.
Yeah, so I started with some orange juice from that's not what I needed, from the leftover caracaras. And then I threw in some beet peels, some basil. So I threw in the beet peels because the basil was just going to make it brown. And then I didn't really get enough orange juice to have enough acid for it. So I went and got some vinegar. And I threw in some shallots. Oh, and now we have salad dressing. I threw in some salt. All right. So, beet salad. Let's do it. Does anyone know what time it is? Because I don't. 10 o'clock. Does anyone know how long this is supposed to go? Thank you. Perfect. Right on time. All right. What restaurants and stuff are you guys from? Can you just shout it out?
I just left Ironside.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
I don't work there, in case you didn't know.
no, pretty well.
Aw. I got this at their first Ladies Who Shuck event, which was, it was like 14-ish maybe. And it's an awesome jacket, and I keep wearing it. And every time I wear it, people are like, I didn't know you worked at Ironside. I'm like, I don't. Yeah, it's a sweet jacket though, right? Okay, I'm gonna serve these family style. I really want a giant, please forgive me, I'm gonna go get a giant bowl. Hi. Oh, thanks, Jen. Thanks for coming. Choo, choo. Thanks for helping, ladies. This is goat cheese. Everyone likes goat cheese, right? Primo is like, he's the best. Thanks, Tristan. Yeah, we hired him like a day after we opened Bobo. Like he wasn't there for all the pre-training, but he was hired like right when we opened. Aww. That was such an interesting situation for me because I was hired as a sous chef and they fired the chef 2 weeks before we opened and we're like, here you go. And I was like, hey guys, I'm the chef now. And it was just like awkward and weird. Yeah. Thank you. Do you want, okay. Okay, thank you. right, guys, you still with me? Kinda, sorta? So. What's, oh, thank you. Okay, so here's those orange peels. We successfully did not make burnt caramel, so thank God for that, right? So you could use them like this, which is very goopy and sugary. If you buy them from somewhere like Chef's Warehouse, they actually come like this, stored in reduced simple syrup. Or we could dry them out a bit, which is my preferred method, because imagine if you're like on the line trying to use these and you're just like, right, it's messy. So let's see, I'm gonna put gloves on for this. Okay, so here's our plan for the rest of the morning. Oh look, that TV has a time, it's 10:09. We're gonna candy these real quick like. Then we're gonna strain the purple pea stock. I don't know if it's ready yet, I haven't tasted it, so we might just plate it and pretend that it tastes delicious, or we'll try and fix it, or we'll just like plate it. We'll see, I don't know if it's ready yet. I should have started it a little bit earlier than I did. Boop. Cover these in sugar. And then you can just leave them out for a few days. Like I said, they're a little sticky. A little sticky. Was that like a whoosh, like you want to eat that? Or? Oh yeah, it's more of a function of like being able to pick it up and like separate it, because it's just coated in the simple syrup. So if you coat it in the sugar, it dries it out. Yeah, right? There it is. And then we used to just store them in a deli of sugar, because then the sugar will draw out the moisture from the simple syrup and just turn it into dried sugar eventually. Anywho, I'll pass these around. It'll be like organic gummy worms or something, you know? Yeah, like I said, you could put them at this point in like a low oven. The sugar will first melt a bit and then dry a bit. Just needs time, mostly. Anywho, I'm gonna leave these out. We'll keep kind of tossing them around and playing with them. And then we'll put them on our ice cream. More sugar. All right, cool. Let those sit out. All right. Okay, let's check out this stock. So I've got a double system here with a really fine chinois, and then I don't know if I'm allowed to say what I grew up using, knowing it as. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if that's politically correct anymore. A bigger strainer, that one. All right. Oh. Oh. Cool. You can see I just put like the bottom hunk of celery in there too. Nothing goes to waste around here. So in here, I have the carrot peelings from the chicken. I have some whole lemon wedges that were zested and already juiced, and just threw the rest of them in there. I've got some garlic. I've got whole shallots, peelings of shallots, and a lot of those pea things. Let me see if I can find like a glass bowl, because I think that'll be really pretty. Or a glass of something. Ah. All right. Ooh, cool. I mean, it smells like soup. Ooh. Oh, I forgot I put jalapeno ends in there too. That was kind of spicy. I'm like, that's sugar, not salt. Okay. It has like the slightest little zing. Mm. No, I did an event there, and they gave us these jackets, and it's a really nice jacket, so I just keep wearing it. But there's all the, it's like my one really nice jacket that's not destroyed from the kitchen, so I always wear it on like things that there's pictures. Yeah. Oh. So, remember when I said like pea pods are kind of bitter, and that white chocolate would like, womp womp. I asked the boss. No, it's I don't know where it is. We normally do, and yeah. Okay. So I just added some sugar in the event that there is actually no white chocolate. Yeah. That spice is right on the front end. Just like, all right. You know what would be really cool is if I had like a giant crouton to float on it. But I also don't have bread. All right. So these are the English peas that I got from the inside of the pea pods. I just blanched them really quick in boiling water, shocked them in ice so they're nice and green. I want them to magically float, and I don't think it'll happen. Kind of. Just a little bit. In a perfect world, I would have like a crouton that went across here with white chocolate shavings and peas. But we don't have red or white chocolate here, apparently. They kind of float, though. That's cool. I'll take it. All right. I'm looking for, I found them. Nope, I didn't find them. Okay. I was looking for my pickled shallots, but I didn't find them, so we'll use pickled chard stems. Same. Maybe down here. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. Oh yeah. You are welcome. This is a purple daikon radish It's really pretty. Yeah, right? Yeah, that crouton would just really make all the difference right now. That's okay. Oh, they kind of float. All right. Things you didn't know float. Okay. Right? This one looks like rabbit ears. I'm gonna have to like fix that. No. Since I did put jalapenos in the broth, might as well throw some of these candied jalapenos. Okay, when you guys try this, I want you to imagine a crunchy crouton with mascarpone and white chocolate. And then just go, oh, now I get it. Yeah, or be like, when you eat it, be like, you know what this is missing? White chocolate. All right. I'm going to leave these up here. I don't have a good method for how to share them, so maybe I'll find some spoons and you guys can, like, I don't know. Let me investigate this situation. Let's think here. Coffee cups. I don't have any. I have these giant coffee cups. What about if I just portion a little taste for you guys and we all just pass them around? Does that work? Yeah? Cool. We're going to do that. No on the white chocolate, huh? No on the white chocolate. Yeah. See, he knows. Oh, okay. I was like, I went to all the places I know that there's white chocolate, and it is not there. Okay. So that's how it would have been. Just wanted to give you guys a better visual than, you know, coffee cups. All right. How many coffee cups do we need, maybe? No, I think I'm just going to give them a little taste, and then they're going to imagine it with. And then we get ice cream. So all is well in the world. All right, let's see. Perhaps one of you very savvy people would want to portion these for me. Yeah, thank you. So we can move on to ice cream. Yeah. And then you guys can get soup and ice cream and out of here on time. Ooh. I grabbed some spoons. But I was going to say they should just be able to drink it. Here's that. Yeah. Yeah, all right. So, ice cream time. Okay, remember the strawberry? I don't know how much you guys can see of that. But we put the basil. You can smell it. It smells so good. You can smell it. It smells so good. So we're going to blend this up. Then we're going to scoop ice cream. I need to do something with the berries. I was thinking about just making simple preserves with them. All right, so we're going to put all this in the blender. just as a friendly reminder of what's actually in here, we have the tops of strawberries, basil, simple syrup, which is just water and sugar, in case you guys don't know, and some beet peels to make it bright and beautiful. All right, let's blend this. Where did I put? Here it is. Thank you, Kathy. All right. Oh my God, it's so pretty. Smells herby. They're in season. Now just imagine, right? You guys get it? All right. Thanks, guys. Strawberries. So these are all the strawberries with their tops removed, obviously. All right. I'm gonna just quarter them real quick like so that they cook down a little bit faster. These are pretty fresh, but imagine if they were wilted in your fridge. Hey, do you guys want to know the best trick for preserving all berries? Yeah. Okay, so except raspberries, you're just screwed on those. But blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, when you get them, you bring them home from the store, the first thing you do is you soak them in water to cover and like a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar for 10 minutes and then walk away and then come back and A, be grossed out at how dirty the water is, but then B, rinse them with fresh water and then store them in an airtight container with a paper towel on the bottom. They'll last for like 3 weeks. It's creepy, yeah. Because the apple cider vinegar, so like you get a berry and you know how there's just like bugs everywhere but you can't see them? It kills all the secret bugs. And they're actually like spores, right? So it kills all the spores and that's what eats at the strawberry if you don't kill them. So when you get home, right away, soak them in water to cover, like a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar for just 10 minutes. If you let them go much longer than that, the vinegar will start to actually ruin the strawberry. So you gotta be careful. And then yeah, airtight container with apple cider vinegar or paper towel on the bottom. Make sure you rinse them after because if the vinegar stays on, then that's what's gonna eat your strawberry. But you'll be really impressed. It's like a serious game changer. Okay, so I have this pan that the candied orange peel was in. It's not burnt, there's just remnants in here. So I'm gonna use this pan because we're gonna use that as a garnish. So orange peel pan and strawberry basil top sauce all in together. And I don't just like save pans for weeks at a time. It just happened that I still had that pan. Otherwise, you could just like use new. But oh no, there it is. All right, cool. I'm gonna scrape that off the bottom to make sure it doesn't burn. I should taste this. I should taste it. That's sweet. All right. Cool. So I just wanted to heat that up a little bit. That tastes really good, actually. Add the strawberries in here. Just a coat. Then I'm going to get the ice cream. And we're going to eat ice cream. You can also candy basil leaves. You guys heard of that? Like, I look at Tina, she's like, yeah. It's not, I wouldn't recommend it as a way to like preserve basil because it's like a pretty fragile process, but basically you take a basil leaf and you take a little paintbrush, a clean paintbrush, and some egg whites. So let's say you have an egg white laying around. You just froth it up a bit with a fork until it's foamy. Take your little paintbrush, paint the basil leaf with egg whites, raw, douse it in sugar, shake it off, and then put it on a drying rack. You want to do that to both sides. And then wait like a day. And it'll get crispy and beautiful. And you can garnish a Pop-Tart with it like I did last weekend. Yeah. Cool. So these are already drier and easier to use. I'll be our official taste tester. A head nod and delicious. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I got excited. Okay. I'm going to grab the ice cream. I think I have bowls. Yeah. I'm going to dish up some ice cream. Then we can just chat because I'm done. So we can just, yeah. Do we? Oh, yeah.
What do you need, Chef?
I'm just going to put scoops of ice cream in here and some strawberry sauce that I made, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, good question. I guess that's the answer. That's what I need. Do you guys ever eat gelato Vera? Yeah, we just happen to have an entire freezer stocked of it. So I picked honey flour. I've never actually had this one, but it sounded beautiful, so. Oh, it is. It's so beautiful. Does anyone have to go like back to work after this? Get you all jacked up on sugar. Yeah. Remember those microflowers? This is how you preserve them in gelato. So yeah, I'm gonna serve up this ice cream, but otherwise I'm done. I hope you learned something or looked at something different or tried something different, or if anything, were entertained slightly. Thank you. And thank you so much to our awesome tech team. This will be immortalized on YouTube forever and ever. So you can watch it with your Sunday cartoons. We'll send the link out. And yeah, if you are interested in hanging out with me ever again, I work here at Specialty Produce. Sometimes I do things like this. Otherwise, I also work at Tribute Pizza in North Park. Sometimes I'm there at night. Mostly I'm there on the weekends cooking brunch. So you can come eat Pop-Tarts and stuff, and pizza. All right. Oh yeah, it seems like I need a big, strong man to do this. Or at least a hot water bane. A big, strong man and a hot water bane. Dreams come true. It's like you read my mind, Justin. I'll dish out strawberries. I'm gonna get a different spoon. I'll be right back.
got it out of the coffee maker. It's hot.
This was just in our deep freeze.
Yeah, the freezer here is no joke.
It's not gonna melt.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, oh. Okay.
A steamer, and a dishwasher.
I had a customer. Call me once really upset.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding.
It's a dishwasher.
No, you're okay.
Sorry, chef.
Picture with your self-cooking center.
What's that?
That was up in the,
Who are you working with, Greg?
that was a event.
Oh, at the Pro Cup?
Yeah, the pro center.
Yeah.
That little station is badass. That trailer. That cork. Remember that cork like half.
Thank you. It's for me. He said, "What's the chicken for?" I said, "It's for me." You guys are over here eating bagels and chicken. I'm over here slaving away. I'm just kidding. I'll share. But I want at least a leg. I want the leg. How many more do we need? Okay. Okay, awesome. Thank you. 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. Okay. Aw, thanks. From Chef Tina Lou, no less. Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely have extra ice cream.
Oh, thanks.
I already put some out for us. I know, sorry.
Oh my goodness.
At least it's not during service.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
That ice cream is pretty well.
No strawberry for you. Cool. All right. Good deal. Thank you. What do you guys think? Cool. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. It's really fun having you all here. Aw. Thanks. Yeah, stay around, eat some ice cream. I'll be up here cleaning up. Come chat if you want, or not. Either one, whatever you want. There's also more candied peel if y'all want to scavenge for it amongst the sugar.
Thank you for the
Oh,
demonstration. Step up.
thank you. Oh, thanks. Little midday snack. Thank you. Right?
Thank you.
Okay, I'm out.
Thank you so much. Oh, I'm still mic'd up. Like,